Hey everyone, it's Tawny and Wayne, Life Outside Boundaries. Welcome back to the channel. We got another video for you guys. Right now we're in Twin Lakes, Colorado. One of our favorite spots. We actually camped out here last year.
In a tent.
In a tent. It's so beautiful that you have to come back. So here we are a year later, and we'd like to give you a recap of our adventures to get up here.
Yeah, so right now the spot we're actually at this lake is Mount Elbert Forebay, and just wanted to give you a little background. We'll be doing a full video on this area eventually, but right now we wanted to give a little background on the areas that we traveled to through North Carolina and Tennessee. So we went in North Carolina, we stayed at a Harvest Host that was outside of Marshall, kind of near Asheville area. We went on some pretty cool hikes there, and then we made our way over to Tennessee. We visited the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, and then we traveled through Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, saw those areas a little bit, and then we went over to Ottawa to where my aunt lives, and she stables horses. So that's near Chattanooga, and we wanted to show you all those areas because we had a great time in all of them, and we saw a lot of really cool things that we thought would be helpful to you if you're ever traveling through North Carolina or Tennessee.
So we picked a Harvest Host out in Marshall, North Carolina. It was a beautiful drive up there. One thing I would say I do not like about North Carolina, especially towing a trailer, is that the roads are super narrow, pretty steep, and a lot of windy, twisty turns. The ride up to get to the Harvest Host was pretty easy for the most part until the last 5 or 10 miles. And we went straight uphill, couldn't find it. The GPS led us to some place. A nice man took me 2 miles down the road to show me where the actual place we were supposed to be was. So then after mapping it out with him, we decided we could do it, and we continued on to this Harvest Host in Marshall, North Carolina.
Yeah, it was a vineyard Harvest Host. He grows his own cold hardy muscadine grapes, and you didn't get to drink any of their wine because they only make it for themselves. I guess they're like a commercial vineyard where they use their grapes for other purposes. Someone else packages them and does all that for them. But it was really cool because it was also a farm area. They had Scottish Highland cows. We actually got to get really up close to them when he fed them one morning when we got up for the sunrise.
3 days, your neighbors. Yeah, I know. And then when we...
Which, by the way, there's some beautiful sunrises and sunsets in that area. They're absolutely spectacular with the mountains all surrounding that flat farmlands. We had some donkeys. The neighbors, he brought us over to the neighbor's place, and they had cows, and they were milking the cows while we were there. And another cool thing was they had a turkey. The turkey's name was Tiny Tim, and the lady let us hold Tiny Tim, and he was not tiny. He was actually really heavy.
I gotta get a good kick out of the turkey because turkey season's coming up, and everybody on the Facebook pages, hunting and stuff that I do, are obsessed with turkeys. I've actually never gone turkey hunting, but to see one up close in person, this thing was white and it was massive. And then to find out that we get to hold them, it was a whole nother story.
It was kind of weird, but it was cool.
Great experience. I must have weighed at least 30 pounds, 25, 30 pounds. He was a big boy.
But there actually was a tiny animal there. Its name was Tulip, and it was a baby goat. So, as we mentioned, the Harvest Host was in a town called Marshall, and Marshall is a very small, historic town. Our host told us it's one of the most poor towns in the county, and not only that, but he said it used to be called Bloody Marshall because of all of the crime that went on there. So That was interesting.
Yeah. And another interesting fact he told us was there was a jail in the downtown area that they're currently renovating into a hotel. We actually tried to check it out and get a drink at the bar or something in the lobby, but it was still closed for renovation, so we didn't get to do that. And then another thing we did, we drove up to Max Patch.
Yeah, Max Patch was super pretty. It was definitely worth the drive. It was way out there and there was no service anywhere out there. So luckily we found it, but it had 360-degree views of the surrounding Blue Ridge Mountains. And it was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. It was on like a very big patch of like a field, an open field of grass. We went up there, we took some pictures. We wanted to sit in the grass and relax. And then we realized that there were a ton of ticks everywhere. They were like just swarming us.
Yeah.
And we saw so many other people just laying in the grass, like no picnic blanket, no nothing, just laying in the grass. So we thought it was fine, and then you can actually see one in the videos that we took while we were up there, running up Wayne's Lake. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I think we relaxed up there for about 45 minutes. We stood up and Tawny's like, babe, you got 45 ticks, not 45, you got four
Yeah.
or 5 ticks on your back.
He had one crawling up towards his neck, and I was just like, oh, get up! You gotta get up! It was scary.
Yeah, we've had plenty of tick encounters in the past month.
If you haven't seen our last video on Georgia and South Carolina, we talked about that a little bit. How growing up in Florida, we never really had that. So it's kind of weird to learn about it the hard way. But
That's the best way to learn.
yeah, so that was pretty much North Carolina in a wrap. The Harvest Host was amazing. If you guys are interested in signing up for Harvest Hosts, if you use our link down in the description below, we actually have a code for 15% off. You get 15% off, we get $15 from it. It's not a lot, but I mean, you get a discount, so why not use our link? So from North Carolina, we made our way over to Tennessee because we really wanted to see the Great Smoky National Park, Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And on our way there, we passed through Pigeon Forge, which is a very interesting area. They have a lot of really weird buildings, and it looks like a lot of fun for families and like a great time for like a family vacation. There was a ton of entertainment for kids.
Upside down hotels.
Yeah, upside down hotels, but there was like a lot of theme parks with like big slides and stuff that you could see from the road. It looks like a neat place right outside the Smokies too. So we would definitely give it a thumbs up if you want to check it out.
There's a lot of interesting facts about the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. One of them is that it has over 500,000 acres.
Yeah, and it covers 384 miles of roads.
And it spans over North Carolina and Tennessee.
Yeah, 2 states. So you can enter it from either side. We went through the Tennessee side.
And we actually drove to North Carolina, back to North Carolina. While you're visiting the park, make sure to check out one of their 150 trails that span over 850 miles.
Yeah, did you guys know it's actually the most visited national park in the entire United States? I would have thought maybe Grand Canyon or something else, but no.
Yosemite.
Yeah, Yosemite, but no, it's actually Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It's the most visited. And a bonus, if you're camping, there are 10 campgrounds within, but probably should reserve those kind of early because I'm sure they fill up. We noticed when we were in the area, because we had our camper with us, that it was pretty much impossible to find free camping. It seems like because they have so many tourists coming to the area, they don't want to offer anything for free. You can't even park at like the Walmart parking lots. I mean, you probably could get away with it, but they actually have posted signs that you're not supposed to. And it's like a county ordinance that you're not allowed to in the area. So
Yeah, also driving up on the highways, we noticed more RVs within a 15-mile radius of the area than we have over the past 3,500 miles we've traveled on this trip so far.
yeah, so if you're going there, definitely plan it very far in advance if you're planning on staying the night there, because you're gonna need to get reservations.
So whenever visiting Great Smoky Mountain National Park, there's a couple animals that I always want to see. It's a black bear, Or first one's an elk, second one's a black bear, third one was a toss-up, and it happened to be turkeys. We saw 2 out of the 3, and the first one we saw were turkeys immediately entering.
Yeah, they were crossing the road while we were driving by.
And then we had a black bear crossing, and the black bear was very photogenic. He happened to stick around for 50 cars in front of us.
We had a traffic jam for the black bear. We went to Clingman's Dome, and actually Clingman's Dome is the tallest spot within the park. It stands at 6,600-ish feet, and that's the highest elevation within the park actually. So it's not like the Rockies out here, but they still are really beautiful, and there's a lot of them. So Clingman's Dome definitely provided an amazing view of the overall surrounding mountains.
Yeah, a neat thing about Clingman's Dome, when you're up there, you can see mountains from Tennessee, and you can also see the North Carolina mountains. And it also is one of the major lookouts, or one of the top attractions when you're hiking the Appalachian Trail.
Yep.
So the Appalachian Trail crosses right through it. When we went, we just parked and did I think it's about 1.2 miles round trip up through pavement and back down. It's pretty steep, but it's very easy and doable. However, there's a lot of other trails, as we mentioned before, that you can take to access this trail to get up to Clingman's Dome if you don't want to do the short man cut.
Another thing besides just the trails in the park is there's a ton of just little bluffs where you can get like an amazing view, get some pictures, just have a nice lookout area. There's so many of them. The park is so big. There's so many little spots where you can pull over and see some cool things. So after we visited Great Smoky Mountain National Park, we didn't want to risk it with camping in the Walmart parking lot. There were other campers there, but it was just too posted that you're not supposed to stay. Decided to go that night over to my aunt's, who has a stable. She stables horses at a place called Longview Stables in Ottawa, Tennessee. So we visited them, and we were pretty excited to ride some horses.
Originally, I wasn't too excited. I used to do horseback riding when I was 7 and 9 years old. Had a couple bad experiences that made me scared of horses, and this was gonna be my first time riding in at least 10 years. So I was a little nervous, to say the least.
Yeah. I've never had a bad experience, so I wasn't afraid. We ended up getting, actually, when we got there, some rainy days, so we didn't get to ride them as much as we thought we were going to. So instead, we did some like little grill outs and kind of hung out in the camper a lot.
Yeah. When we were at our last Harvest Host in North Carolina, we got some frozen patties that they made from their Scottish Highland cows. These patties were phenomenal, and they're so lean that we had to use extra virgin olive oil on them just to give it a little bit of substance while cooking.
So when we finally got to go and ride the horses, I was like, the first day was great. We got to ride them. Wayne rode the smallest, or rode the quarter horse, not a smaller horse, yeah. And we went through the trails and we had a beautiful day. I rode Bane, which is the tallest horse actually there. And they have 13 horses, 70 acres, 13 horses. And I guess he's one of the fastest ones too, but he's very well behaved and he's very obedient and easy pretty much to ride. But the next day that we rode, I think I kind of scared Wayne again because, well, I scared myself. I fell off of the horse for the first time. We were going to trot over some of the, what do you call them, like pipes that we had set up just to get them to lift their legs higher, trot over them. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because Wayne had gone over with Remy, which is the white horse he was riding, which is he's a mix between Arabian and thoroughbred. So he was riding him and he told him to canter, and I followed him and I told Wayne to trot, and we were just trotting, and then he started cantering. And his canter was big, and I'm definitely not experienced enough of a rider, and between that and riding with an English saddle instead of the Western where you can kind of hold onto the horn, which I think would have helped a little bit, when he went to slow down because I was trying to stop him, and also turned to the right off of the pipes at the same time, and I was airborne during that, I kind of just let go because I felt like I was about to drag off of him. And it doesn't even look like I really landed that bad, but I did.
How'd your day go?
I fell off a horse for the first time. And I ended it with a sprained ankle. Got a little golf ball. Little golf ball in there. My right knee is not feeling so wonderful either. Feeling really stiff and exhausted. Of course it was the tallest horse here.
The thing took you flying.
And it's been a little over 2 weeks and I'm still struggling. My ankle's still really swollen. My knee still hurts when I bend it too far. So, kind of sucks, but it was still fun to get to ride the horses and get to visit with family and stuff, so.
Yeah, I didn't really realize how small the horse was that I was riding until I saw pictures of it a couple hours after we were riding. I started laughing. I thought I was riding a pony. Maybe that's why I wasn't frightened.
So after I fell off the horse, I was like, okay, not only did that happen, but so I like scuffed my chin really bad too, because on the way down I like went across the dirt. I had little plants stuck in my belt because I scuffed into the dirt so hard. My back the next day was hurting, my shoulder was like, everything was hurting the next day. I guess I'm getting old. But anyways, so after that I was like, no, I'm done riding. And then my cousin convinced me to get on the small horse he was riding the first day, Annie. So I got on her and she's very slow. So we took a nice slow roll through the trails the second time, and Wayne rode Remy.
Yeah.
My cousin rode Bane. I was done with Bane that day.
I guess there's two benefits of her falling off the horse. The first one is I caught it on camera. The second one is she sprained her left ankle and probably tore her PCL, MCL. No.
I think I either tore my PCL or just tore my meniscus in my right knee. So it's my left ankle and my right knee, which has made things very difficult. I'm actually walking pretty good right now,
yeah,
though.
And that's another thing. It's only been 2 weeks and she's back on her feet.
It's still very swollen and I still go through pain, but I can't sit still. Thanks for watching our video and our travels through North Carolina and Tennessee. We hope that they're helpful to you and that you're able to use some of the spots that we visit if you ever go through those areas. Please stay tuned because we are still out here living in our travel trailer and we have so many awesome adventures and so many amazing places we've visited, such as the one we're at right now, and we can't wait to share them with you guys.